in Transfer Hub. I work in collaboration with your college to provide academic support and ensure that you all have a smooth transition into the university. And so as your academic support coordinator, you're able to make an appointment with me if you have any questions or are seeking academic support. So before we begin with today's session, I wanted to do a quick overview of STEP and what to expect with these next few weeks, and then going over our Zoom webinars. So for those who are not familiar with a Zoom webinar, you'll notice that we are not able to see or hear you. You do have access to a Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen where you can type your questions. And so this allows us to see your questions and we will be answering them either live, which means that one of us will unmute ourselves to answer your questions live, or we will be answering by typing them back, and you'll be able to see your questions being answered in the Q&A box. And so throughout the session, at the end, you will see your questions being answered, but please note that it might take a couple minutes for us to get back to your questions. And just know that there's a lot going on behind the scenes, so just hang tight. We will be getting to those questions, and the session will be recorded as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so with that said, we are super excited to have you all join us today. I am gonna go ahead and share some slides on what to expect for the STEP program these next couple of weeks. So welcome everyone to our third session of Transfer Talks. Throughout the summer, you will all have access to different info sessions on topics that will be helpful to you before you begin the school year. I am going to start off with a poll to gather your thoughts. And so a question to you, for you, is what are you most interested in learning about before starting as a transfer this fall? So go ahead and answer that poll question, and we'll go ahead and get started in a minute or two. All right.
My internet is not allowing me to launch it. Do you mind just clicking the poll and launching it, Jackie?
Oh, yeah.
So sorry. It keeps saying it went and then it says failed to launch. So apologies on my end.
Okay, you all should see the poll now. Okay, so what are the top 3 things on your mind right now in preparation for 2023? So our top choice is obviously, how do I get advising support, which is a really big one I've been getting a lot. Our second top choice, how do I transfer credits? So transferring credits. So we did talk about this a little bit during our session last week. And so we'll kind of go over that in a little bit on how you all can access the recordings for each STEP session. So a lot of you are curious about how to enroll for classes, how to get access to your academic advisors, and a lot of transferring credits. Okay. Alrighty, thank you all for answering this poll question. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you all for answering. And so Throughout the summer, we will be hosting virtual transfer talks like today's session, where we will be covering important topics like financial aid, how to get involved at UCSD, getting connected with the Basic Needs Office, and a lot more. So we've already had 2 transfer talks so far where we covered information on housing and IGETC FAQs, which all of you do have access to the recordings and key points that were covered in those sessions. So this information can be found on our webpage, which we will show at the end. But you do all have access to those, and we will be uploading recordings as we go throughout each session. Okay. And another component of the STEP program is our Transfers Connect, which will be a great opportunity for you to meet with one another, both virtually and in person. And so Transfers Connect groups will be led by some of our peer coaches that will be serving you all next year. So this is a great way for you to get your questions answered by your peer coaches, meet others that have been participating in STEP, and start to build community before you set foot on campus. So for those of you who are local to San Diego, we will be providing a free lunch after our Transfers Connect sessions. And then for those of you who join us virtually, we will be doing raffle prizes for staying throughout the whole session. Let me see. Okay. And then another component of the STEP program is the transfer map. So I went ahead and created a transfer map for you all to utilize to be able to map out how you plan to get involved at UCSD. So you'll have the opportunity to meet with a peer coach and really get to talk about what your commitments look like outside of your academics and where your extracurricular activities fit in your schedule, so that you have a better idea of what your years at UCSD will look like. And so that you are also making sure that you are staying on top of your time management. And so your peer coach will be able to help you out with that. And then next we'll be having Red Talks, which are a spinoff of TED Talks. So these Red Talks will be happening in early August. And so our Red Talks are research education talks where we will be covering topics on how to get connected to research on campus, how to reach out to faculty, and what research looks like at UCSD, and then how to get started with it all. And so these sessions you can expect will be beginning in early August. Finally, we are looking forward to having a STEP Welcome Day in September, which you'll be able to meet with each other in person. And so from 1 to 2 p.m., we will be having our peer coaches giving some on-campus tours, and they'll be able to take you to some of the buildings of where your classes will be at, so that when the first day of school comes, you feel better prepared and are able to find your classes, and you won't be having that stress of being late to a class because you couldn't find the building. So we do look forward to seeing you all in September. It'll be a super fun day. And then for those of you who are first generation college students, this is our first year where we are doing the Try and Transfer Promise. And so this is essentially a promise for our first generation transfers to participate in the STEP program. And in return, we will be providing exclusive support to you throughout the academic year, such as having one-on-one sessions with your peer coaches, professional development, and more. So if you have any questions on this, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. And then, as mentioned before, if you are not able to attend a transfer talk, we will be recording these sessions, and these can be found on our webpage. So you can go ahead and go to the new admits tab and then select the STEP tab from there, and you'll be able to find the recordings as well as a summary of the main points that were covered in each session. And so far, we do have the recordings and key points from our 2 previous sessions posted on that webpage. Okay, and then if you stay until the end of the session, we will be doing a raffle of prizes. So feel free to scan the QR code to log your attendance for today. And at the very end, we will be doing our raffle. And so we will go ahead and share the QR code later as well if you don't get the chance to do that right now. And we'll also go ahead and pop the link in the chat for those of you who can't scan the QR code. Okay, and so finally, I will go ahead and pass it off to our guest speakers for today. Our advising experts, they will be talking about connecting with advisors at UCSD. So again, just a heads up that this presentation is being recorded, and we will be providing a summary of key points at the end of the week. So I will go ahead and share our presentation slides. I got caught up.
While Sam is pulling that up, do we want to have everyone introduce themselves? Who's presenting on our panel today?
Yes, we do, Tessa. Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Michael. I am the Dean of Academic Advising in Revelle College, and I'll pass it to the other college, Katie. This is the Katie show today. So next up, Katie McGann.
Hello, everyone. Katie McGann, Dean of Academic Advising for 8th College.
And my name is also Katie. I work in biological sciences. I'm a major department advisor, but today I'm on behalf of all departments. So I'm representing a lot of departments today.
Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and pass it over to our 3 Katies for today, and they will go ahead and start presenting.
All right, thank you, Sam. Just a reminder, this is being recorded. I am going to ask that you hold your questions until the end of our short presentation portion. We are most likely going to answer your question throughout the following slides, including when do I meet with an advisor? What classes do I take? What am I supposed to be doing right now? How do I send my transcripts? All of these questions that everyone is super worried about. Don't worry, we've got you. Just hold off on questions so we don't have to answer the same ones all up front. All right, so I'm going to start with just an overview of the advising services here at UCSD to give you an idea of what that looks like, since it's probably a different landscape than where you are coming from. And then we'll talk about what is happening this summer, what needs to happen before you enroll in August. Yes, you will enroll in August 16th. What things should you be doing right now, and what resources can help you, and what pro tips do we have for you? And then we'll answer some questions at the end. All right, so to start, this graphic shows all of the different advising services on UC San Diego's campus. Now, I hope you know that we have an undergraduate college system here, so there are 8 different colleges, and you will have college advisors in your home college. I am from Revelle College, Katie McGann is from 8th College. Each of the 8 colleges has their own academic advising team. Think of your college advising team as the generalists. We will help direct you and support you. We're most heavily focused on advising on general education and university requirements. And then you will also work very closely with your department and program advisors for your specific major and minor requirements. So if you have questions about how to minor in something, your major requirements, how to get into major classes, capped majors, things of that nature, you're going to talk with your specific department advisors about those things. Then you also have other types of advisors on campus. So if you have a pre-professional goal like pre-med or pre-dentistry, there are dedicated advisors in the health beat role over in the Career Center that will help you to determine your path for professional programs like that. They'll help you think about the different prerequisite courses you need as you're applying into graduate and professional programs. If you're an international student, you'll also work with advisors in International Students and Programs Office, or ISPO. If you are a scholar athlete, you'll have an advisor in athletics who really focuses on the NCAA compliance pieces. And also some departments or majors connect students with faculty advisors. I also want to point out in the dark blue on the bottom right and left-hand corners of this slide, financial aid and the Office for Students with Disabilities. Now, in academic advising in the colleges or in the departments, we do not have information about your specific information that is housed in these offices. As a side note, if you do need academic accommodations through the Office for Students with Disabilities, or OSD, please act now. Do not wait in contacting OSD. You can schedule an appointment as soon as possible. Start that process so that when classes start on September 28th, classes start September 28th, then you will have your accommodations all set up at that time. And then we also have some wonderful support units, including the Transfer Hub, CASP, Oasis, that will help to support students as well. And they have counselors, advisors, program managers in those units. So when we are truly talking about academic advising for your degree, just remember you have college advisors and major advisors that you should be checking in with regularly.
All right, I am going to go through a little bit of information about what to expect over the summer. As you all are getting ready for summer or for fall, we are also getting ready for fall. So you won't be seeing all of the work that we're doing on the back end as far as advisors, but we will definitely be busy. So we're just going to go through a little overview of what to expect during this time frame of what we're working on. So we'll talk about transcripts being received and evaluated by admissions. Departments and colleges are reviewing student records. We'll go through a brief overview of transfer credit. And then we'll also talk about submitting petitions for gen ed requirements or major requirements if necessary. Okay, so for right now, the most important thing that you can do for your academics is to submit your transcripts on time. So July 1st is the deadline for transcripts to be postmarked, to be sent to UCSD admissions. You also want to make sure that you will send your AGETSI certificate and any AP or IB scores that you have as well. This is really essential for us to have an accurate picture of your academic history, and then that way we can make accurate course suggestions for you later on. It can take time for all these records to be evaluated. As I'm sure you can imagine, admissions is receiving thousands of documents during this time and entering the data, evaluating them. All of this information that you send will eventually be received, updated, posted on your enrollment checklist. So you'll be able to see that as it comes in. And if you do submit everything on time by that July 1st deadline, your information should be posted to your record by August 14th. You can go to the next slide. So as far as what departments and colleges are doing on the back end. So as admissions is receiving your transcripts and your scores and posting them, most college and department advisors will begin reviewing your records. Sometimes we might need to manually update your student degree audits. So sometimes when transfer coursework posts may not either post 100% accurately, or it may not automatically apply towards the degree requirement it should be applying to. There's a lot that goes into it. So a lot of the times us as advisors need to go in and make manual adjustments to your degree audits and your student records. So that will take some time also. But we want to make sure that everything is accurate and cleaned up by the time that it comes for you to enroll in classes. During the summer, advisors are also answering questions from new students and preparing for our orientation and welcome sessions. It is common for advisors to contact students who need to submit petitions to have certain coursework evaluated, and we'll get more into petitions a little bit later on. But this is just some background information about what we're doing. Next slide. Here we have a very brief overview of transfer credit. a few points to go over here. You will be able to learn more about your own specific degree requirements through your orientations. I understand there's already a transfer talk, and you'll have communication from your college and your major departments as well. But just to go through a brief overview today, I wanted to point out that the Office of Admissions is the one that determines which courses are UC transferable. So if a course is UC transferable, that means you'll be able to earn credit for the transfer class, and it will be able to apply towards your degree in some shape or form. If you have questions about how your transfer credit specifically applies towards your degree, you will want to either wait for information or contact either your college advisors or your major department advisors. So I know we talked about this a little bit already, but as a general rule of thumb, if you have questions about anything that may apply towards your major, you'll want to talk to your major advisors. For an example, I'm a biology advisor. And if you have any questions about your general education requirements or overall unit requirements, you will want to talk to your college advisors. So as an example, some unit requirements are that students need to complete at least 180 units to graduate, and at least 60 of those 180 units need to be upper division courses. So just to keep in mind the distinction between what major advisors, what their realm is, and the realm of college advisors. One resource that is very helpful that I'm sure many of you already know about is the website assist.org. So that website lists transfer agreements between California community colleges and how that transfers back to UCSD. So you can look on that website to see whether certain community college courses will grant equivalent credit at UCSD. And when you're looking at these, you'll want to keep in mind that some transfer agreements are course-to-course equivalencies, which means if you take one class, that gives you this one equivalent course credit at UCSD. And other agreements are series-to-series agreements, which means you have to take the entire series of courses at the community college in order to earn that series of credit at UCSD. So you're always welcome to reach out to us if you have questions about how to interpret it, but that website's very helpful. When you're using the website, you can filter either by major or department. I think it's easier to look by department. You can filter by either math department, chemistry, biology, whatever it might be. I think it's just more clear cut that way. Okay, can go to the next slide. So some information about petitions. Not every student will need to submit course petitions, but some will. If you did take classes according to the transfer agreements on assist.org, as an example, you will not need to submit a petition most likely because that's already a transfer agreement that's, vetted and listed out. However, if you took a course that is either out of state or out of country, you'll most likely need to submit a petition because most likely that course hasn't been evaluated yet. So, as I mentioned before, most colleges and departments will be reviewing student records as they come in, and some advisors will reach out to students proactively to inform them that they should submit a course petition. But if you're unsure if you need to submit a petition or not, you are welcome to reach out to us and ask about that. And again, you just want to wait until your coursework starts to post too. So we don't have any of that information yet. To submit a petition, basically what you would do is you would fill out an undergraduate petition form, and usually you'll need to submit a copy of the course syllabus as well. Every department here can operate a little bit different as to how they process petitions. So the websites, for example, are very helpful. I know like biology, chemistry, physics, math, a lot of departments have information about how to submit a petition on their websites that you can look up. And just keep in mind, petitions can take several weeks to process. Often they need to be evaluated by a faculty member, and petitions are not guaranteed to be approved for any certain type of credit. Petition outcomes, when we have them, will be sent back to you in the VAC, which is the Virtual Advising Center. And now actually I'm going to pass it off to Katie Michael, who's going to be talking more about the VAC and how to reach advisors.
Thank you, Katie. I am answering some questions here, getting lots of good questions about transcripts, about IGETC, about AP scores. So good questions, and we will answer these during Q&A. All right, so you're probably wondering, how the heck do I contact an advisor? What is the VAC? And if you remember nothing else of what we say today, remember the VAC. The Virtual Advising Center, VAC. It's just vac.ucsd.edu. It is how you contact your academic advisors at UCSD. Bookmark that page if you are on your computer. The VAC, the Virtual Advising Center, is how we communicate with students. We do not use email. So the VAC is a special system at UCSD. It is centralized, so you can submit questions and you will get responses generally within a couple of business days, depending on the volume and our staffing. But your department advisors can then see what your college advisors have told you and vice versa. It is a crucial tool for you to be in contact with us. And throughout your time here, we will also send important information out via the VAC, and you will get an email notification saying that you have a VAC message. This screenshot shows what it will look like. And over on the left-hand side, you can see the Ask a Question button. That is what you will use for your whole time here at UCSD. So VAC, VAC, VAC. One more site that I want to talk about on the next slide is the new Triton Advising, or NTA site. So you can start asking questions via the VAC on June 15th, which was actually last week. But before you have access to it, you do need to complete new Triton Advising. So for all of you wondering, how do I reach out to an advisor? When can I do that? As soon as you complete your new Triton Advising, you can use the VAC and you can start sending us any questions you have. All right, so new Triton Advising is available in the summer for new transfer students. Now, it's important to know that you will likely not meet with an advisor until after you enroll in classes starting August 16th. Yes, I did say that. You will not meet in person individually with an advisor before you enroll. Don't panic. We have resources for you. College advisors, department advisors, we have different models based on our staffing. You will get messages through the VAC. We'll start having drop-in advising in August and September. Some units are actually starting this in July, but you do have access to your advisors in the VAC every single day. So if you have not already done this, you need to submit your academic background as soon as possible. Now, this is self-reported information. That's really, really important to know. Self-reported information on the academic background is not the same thing as submitting your official transcript to admissions. You still have to submit your official transcripts. You still have to submit your official AP and IB scores directly from the testing agencies. And if you have IGETC or partial IGETC certification, you have to request a specific document from your community college to be sent to UCSD admissions. If you're not sure how to do that, do a quick Google of your community college and IGETC, and that webpage will tell you what you need to do. So for us in advising, we need you to complete your academic background, this self-reported information. It's going to ask you about the classes that you have taken in the past, that you're currently taking, your placement information, your test scores. This really just helps us to prepare to advise you. And you're probably wondering why? Why do I have to submit official transcripts? And why do I have to do this new Triton Advising academic background thing? Well, the reality is that if you submit your transcripts officially by the July 1st deadline, it won't be posted probably until the middle of August, but you start enrolling August 16th. So we need advisors, we need help from you for your self-reported information so that we can get a head start on helping you figure out what to take, what you need to petition, etc. So when you're doing your academic background, if you make a mistake, do not worry. Don't reach out, don't panic. It's self-reported. It doesn't change your record in any way. Just try to submit every class that you've taken. If you already did this and you screwed up, that's okay. Send us a VAC message if you do have any questions. Departments will also be providing pertinent information to their majors, and they do this in different ways depending on the department. Some of them have information sessions or orientations throughout the summer. Follow any instructions that you get to sign up for these sessions. Sometimes departments will actually request specific information from their own majors, and that's because they're also trying to give you individual fall course recommendations. So make sure you're checking any messages you get from the VAC as well. If you have not received any major recommendations by the middle of August and you do need help, again, reach out to your department through the VAC. The colleges will be releasing what we call enrollment guidance, and that is about general education and university requirements. That will be available through the VAC on August 9th. So you get it on August 9th, and then you enroll the following week. When you make it all the way through the New Triton Advising, you've submitted your academic background, that is when you can ask a question through the VAC to your department and your college advisors. All right, McGann, you're up.
Thanks, Michael. All right, so I've been kind of just trying to keep track of some of the questions that have been coming into the chat. Some of those will be ones that I'll answer, but like Katie Michael mentioned, we will get to those at the end, so don't think we're ignoring them. We're just kind of double dutying, presenting and answering some questions as we can. So at the end, we'll make sure we get through all of these, like some folks have mentioned. So a couple things here with regards to enrollment. So Katie Michael kind of talked about some of the things that you'll do in New Triton Advising. Katie Liakos talked about the elements that are being done behind the scenes. And I know a lot of you have been writing in about where's my academic background, my transcripts haven't posted. That stuff is all happening on the back end. Admissions, I think last week really is starting to kind of process all of those documents. And I know that leaves a little angst, and you're all exactly where you should be in the process. So don't feel like any of you are behind. The way enrollment will happen when we get to middle of August will be as such. So you will have your enrollment times that'll be advertised basically to you or told to you on July 31st. So that's a big date because that's when you're going to find out exactly the day and time that your enrollment process will start. So it'll be randomized between the 16th and 18th of when transfers will enroll. I got a question earlier, one of the questions in the chat earlier was about, like, I've been looking at classes and it shows everything's full. Most departments are saving seats in courses because they know all first years and all transfers have to enroll. So I wouldn't panic about that at this point, thinking, wow, I'm going to have no classes available. It's just that they set aside and it looks more full than it probably is because they're saving seats. That's not maybe the case for every class, but that's a pretty common practice. So you'll find out when your exact enrollment times are on July 31st. And then the way UCSD handles things, and it's pretty common with other UCs as well, is there's a 2-pass system. So you'll have the ability to enroll in up to an 11.5 units, which typically students are enrolling in about 2 classes in that first pass. So you'll have a set day and time or block between the 16th and 18th for you to enroll in that first pass. And then a couple, basically the next week, you'll have your second pass. And that's how it will work every quarter. So this is not different than it will be in the future. Every quarter, you'll have a first pass and then a second pass. And then all colleges will have some of these pre-enrollment webinars. For some of you, they will be mandated. In others, it may be an optional, but a highly recommended. And they'll talk you through what the actual enrollment process looks like, kind of the X's and O's of navigating scheduled classes and enrolling. So that's likely information that you've seen on your registration site, CORE, college orientation registration site. One caveat with enrollment that I always try to hit home with students is this clearing your holds, because it'll be a really tight window and you're checking off a lot of different things, whether it's mandatory trainings or document deadlines, registering for orientation. All those things can potentially trigger a hold on your account, and they will prevent you from enrolling in classes. So I want to make sure you're comfortable with how you check that you have holds. on your account. And really kind of in August, that should be something that you're just double checking before enrollment hits. And those are things typically, most of those holds are not ones that your department or any of the advisors on campus have control over. And so calling us frantically won't help. We'll empathize, but the more you can help yourself with making sure if you do have a hold that you get that cleared out ahead of time will be helpful. We can go to that next slide. So here's a few things that we would share as kind of the most important things right now. So we're June 21st, and a lot of the things that we're talking about won't happen till about middle of August, beginning of August for some things. One of the most important things is to really use that enrollment checklist as your North Star. It'll kind of walk you through all the most important things that you need to do in this onboarding process. Some of those are things that we already talked about. It's your college transcripts, high school transcript. Got a question from somebody in the chat about that as well. The reason why with high school transcripts, even if those don't seem at all pertinent, is that the university has an American Histories and Institutions requirement that most of the time, if you took a US history course at the college level, it would count. But I can't say that everybody will have done that, or it would be one that satisfies the requirement. Most students in high school have taken a course that would satisfy that. And I would say, I don't know if this is accurate math, but probably 90% of folks are satisfying that with kind of high school level work. So if there's not an additional cost burden to you, which I'm cognizant of not asking students to send something they don't need, if there is a cost associated with it, I would just send that as a kind of safety precaution in case there's anything in there that gets lost in translation, or if you don't have it coming out of your college. The high school thing just helps clear it up and you're done with it. IGETC, whether you've gotten a full IGETC or partial, make sure you're sending those in. One thing that I would say with that is if you're maybe one class from completing the full slate of courses and there's still an opportunity to take something this summer, maybe not a horrible thing to try to get that out of the way, that you've got it fully covered, because you can use it as long as it's done by the time you get to UCSD. So a summer class could be used this summer to kind of finish that off. AP and IB scores, send those as well. And then, as Katie Michael mentioned, submitting all your information on that academic background on the Triton Advising site. One of the other things that you've got in your enrollment checklist is your orientation. The college orientation is a mandatory component, but there are additional supplemental orientations that are great as well to help get you oriented to campus. Checking your UCSD email every day, that's kind of a no-brainer. I've got a pro tip in a minute. One thing I'll do to share do a screen share on is class offerings. And I'm just going to kind of show you this. This is something that, because so much of the other information is not fully available yet with your academic history and your degree audits, you can at least kind of get a flavor of the courses that will be offered this year. Most departments have a tentative schedule of classes probably at this point. So I'll show you two. Let me switch over. And that gives you at least an idea of what you might imagine you could take and what classes you would find interesting. Here, I think this will be it. So I'm going to go here. Can one of the Katies just tell me if this is going to, can you see the biology?
Yes, I can.
Cool. So we talked about Googling things. I am just going to UCSD biology. And you all are at the undergraduate level. So I'm obviously very adept at this, but I want to show you kind of where you would kind of navigate. So undergraduate, I'm imagining we've got at least one bio major in here, but this is the same kind of concept for anyone. We're interested in course information. And here they've got the 23-24 course offerings. So, you know, you'll at a certain point have academic plans that you'll do and put together, but you can at least see which courses are going to be offered in which quarters, right? It's got things here. So you can kind of at least get an idea of what is being offered this coming year that maybe I'm interested, whether it's an elective or a required course, and start kind of conceptualizing some things. Same sort of idea if we did UCSD Human Development. Okay, undergraduate program. I'm just going to click that. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, courses, that's right. Okay, current course offerings. So they've got their 23-24 course offerings. And it's just helpful again to see, if I'm really interested in the developing mind, well, okay, I got to probably plan. I'm either taking it this fall or I'm slating it in for the next. And you can kind of get an idea if it doesn't specifically say, maybe you don't know, is HDS 110, do they always offer that in the winter? Is that the only time? Well, here they put that it's usually offered in the winter, but you can also go back to previous years and kind of get an idea of like, is this something I can maybe hopefully see next year? Or is this something that maybe they're only offering this one time? So it's just a nice way to get an idea of the courses that you might take where you've got some choice and flexibility to start kind of imagining what your academic journey is. So stop that screen share, and then Sam, you can put it back on the slide deck. Okay, you can go back to that last slide really quick. Okay, I just want to quickly mention the academic history and your degree audits. So you can absolutely start looking at those now, but just knowing that really at the beginning of August and by August 14th, as long as your documents were in, that's when you're really going to start seeing things. So again, I know there'll be kind of a feeling of angst of my classes aren't there, my classes aren't there. Just, we wanted to give you context for what's going on behind the scenes. And it's not that you're not doing something right or that things are happening out of sequence. It's just that they're getting all that information loaded. So that last one is about just kind of being patient, because we know that's tough because you want to get in and do it all right away. Next slide. All right, so I'm going to close with a few pro tips here. Check your email. It's like the easiest possible, like, one thing I want to mention though, I think, Katie, Michael, is this right that when they're going through NTA, they have the text alert sign up, right?
Yes, that is right. When you first go in, it'll ask you to put your phone number in. So please do it. Yeah.
Do that, because when you get a message back from the VAC, it looks pretty benign. It's just like you have a message from UCSD, and it's not something that's going to grab your attention in a way that gets you to respond and open it up. So the text messages, I think, is a good thing, because some of those times it's time sensitive or you're antsy for a reply. So just knowing that that's another avenue to make sure you're aware when the messages get sent to you, especially because some of those then, if you don't answer in a timely way, it has cascading impacts for you. I highly, highly recommend, without being able to require you to do it, sign up for the text alerts. The reason I did that Google search there was just so you could help know that there are ways to get there. It's obvious, right? But a lot of the things that we see students come to us for, it's not like we don't want you to ask the question. We just want you to be able to get it in a way that's timely for you. So just know most of the time there, for certain technical things, that there's a Google solution, but just some Google searches. With trainings, with holds, most every single one of these is related to something that is on your academic enrollment, your enrollment checklist. So whether it's the academic integrity training, the diversity, equity, inclusion training, sexual assault prevention training, academic background, transcripts and test scores, registering for orientation, all the things that you need to do with student health, with immunizations and vaccines. I know it feels like you're drinking out of a fire hose right now because of all these things that you have to do this initial quarter, the thing I always tell transfers, and it doesn't make it better, but just knowing that this is the craziest part it'll get. And as soon as you chunk through these things, it gets much smoother. I like to, so far I haven't been wrong on that. that the first quarter has just got the most things and most hurdles, and it smooths out after that. But making sure that you've put in your calendar to kind of regularly check for holds. And then Katie Liakos mentioned petitions. So since you're already still kind of tied in with your previous institution, if there's things that you think you might need to petition, getting those syllabi and course descriptions now is not a bad thing, because you just lose touch with professors or access to documents later down the line. Last slide. All right, so this is something that I would say we're pretty decently okay on time. Put these 5 things in your phone right now as far as alerts, because these are all ones, these are all dates that are related to your enrollment. And these are the things that you're here today to know about. The 16th of July is when your academic background is due. The 31st of July is when your enrollment times gets released. August 9th, Katie mentioned your enrollment guidance gets publicized. And then you can start kind of adding, I think, Katie, Michael, let me know if I'm wrong here. I think they can start adding courses, kind of planned courses to their carts. So they will hit enroll. Like, I think that's like, you're pro. If you've got your classes in your cart and then your enrollment comes around, you're like, add, done. Cool. The 16th is when first pass starts. The 21st is the second pass. So I put this disclaimer about adjusting alerts for the 31st, because right now you should put them in your phone for August 16th and the 21st. But on July 31st, you're going to find out the exact time, so you can adjust that alert that you set for the future at that point in time. But I think these are 5 super important alerts that you can put in your phones now so that you're set up for success when enrollment comes around. I am done.
Alrighty, so we are into our Q&A session. So if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in our Q&A box, and we'll go ahead and answer some last questions on there.
Sam, I'm seeing lots of questions about high school transcripts. So high school transcripts, friends, if you are a transfer student, which you all are, hopefully, you do not have to submit your high school transcript as part of your admissions acceptance. However, giant asterisk, there is a university requirement called the American History and Institutions, AHI. There are a variety of different ways that you can clear this requirement. I'm going to pop this in the chat. If you want your AHI requirement to be completed using a course that you took in high school, which would have been one high school unit in American history, civics, American government with a grade of C or better, if that is you, if you're like, check, I did that, then yes, you should submit your high school transcript. It has to be the official high school transcript sent directly from your high school to UCSD admissions. Don't send them an unofficial one. If you have a sealed envelope that's official, you can hand deliver it to admissions, that is fine. But that is the story with AHI and high school transcripts.
This question has come through. I guess I should hit the answer live button about partial IGETC, and if you're taking a summer class to finish that, what should you do? Katie, my understanding with the colleges is that if you think you're going to have completed IGETC because you're finishing it out over this coming summer, that's something you should let the staff know in NTA. And then send that in via VAC that you're going to be doing that, and probably avoid taking probably GE requirements that first quarter, because you don't know exactly where things are going to land, is how I would probably typically answer that question. You could, if you wanted to, send and request an official IGETC documentation. Some places call it like GE or General Education Requirement Certification. You could send the partial version now and then get another one once you're done, but that seems a little redundant. Probably communicate with via VAC that I'm anticipating having my IGETC fully done after this summer. And then once your class is in and your community college has completed your IGETC documentation, then have your IGETC certification sent to UCSD.
I'm seeing a couple of questions about the 2-pass system, so first pass and second pass. So that is about enrollment. So students enroll in 2 different passes, which is like 2 different periods. So during your first pass, you can enroll in up to 11.5 units. So not quite full-time status. Full-time status is 12 units. So during your first pass, you want to be strategic in the classes that you really want to get into that are really important for your major or university requirements, classes that might fill up quickly, like labs fill up quicker for the most part than lecture classes. So there's, some strategy in picking out classes you want to enroll in for your first pass. And then in some time passes, I think it's like a week, and then your second pass opens up, and then you can enroll in the rest of your classes. So the enrollment limit for the second pass would be 19.5 units. So it's just, it kind of is structured that way to try to make it, I think, a little bit more fair for students. So you have 2 different opportunities to enroll in your classes for the quarter.
Same questions, and this is probably the best question. Okay, but what classes do I take? How do I know what classes I have to take? So you're like, I've sat here for 53 minutes and I still have no idea what classes I'm supposed to take. All right, so we are going to look at your transcript. We are going to figure out what you have credit for. The big question is really, well, what major are you? And what college are you in? Because the general education courses that you need are determined by your college. So the classes you will take will be for your major and for your general education, minus the classes you already took at the community college. So right now, nothing you need to do. That's behind the scenes that we're figuring out the classes that you took and what that looks like. We mentioned earlier that the colleges will all do pre-enrollment webinars. So you really, really, really need to watch for that information. The departments also do a variety of webinars and orientation, and you will get information through the VAC. So keep an eye out on those things as we get closer, like in Revell, for example. If you're a Revell student, we're going to walk you through what every single general education requirement is and how you read your degree audit to determine what you actually need to enroll in. That comes later. That comes for most colleges in late July and August, but continue to watch your email. And if you're really like, I have no idea what I'm doing, that is okay. This is a totally new space. And that is why I say VAC. Send a message through the VAC to your advisors and just say, not really sure what I'm doing. What am I supposed to be taking? That is our job. So we will help you on the back end. No question is a bad question. Also, lots of questions about academic background. So on the academic background, under transfer courses, there's a question on there and it reads, did you take or plan to take any college transfer courses prior to enrollment at UC San Diego? If so, list them below. If you selected no and just bypassed the question accidentally, that's okay. You can submit a VAC question to your advisors and say, I didn't actually put any of my transfer coursework in. Here's all the classes that I'm taking. You don't have to do that because eventually we are going to receive your transcripts and it's all going to be posted officially. What you should say, if you haven't done your academic background yet, is you should select yes to that question in the academic background in New Triton Advising. And then it's going to give you a line for every single class that you've taken. If you can report everything that you've taken previously, that's great. That helps us make sure that your transcripts are posted correctly when it comes time to review your record. If you just post the things you're currently in and the things that you're taking this summer, that is okay too. Again, this is all just self-reported. If you're worried about making a mistake, you can always reach out through the VAC to your advisors and just let them know.
Hey, Katie, I see some questions that are about like making academic plans and being able to, what if I'm here longer than 2 years? What if, I saw a question about being a student who tends to want to take a little bit longer. Can you speak towards that at all?
Which Katie?
Oh, good question. You're the one on my screen, so I just figured.
You're totally fair. I
Michael.
actually, I did actually click answer live on one of those. Okay, so by policy, a transfer student, according to the quarter limit policy, you have 6 full-time quarters here. Fall, winter, spring, fall, winter, spring. Summers do not count. If you need longer than that, because you're going part-time, because you need to work, because you want a double major, because you insert other reasons students often have, what you would need to do is you would need to work with your advisors, and you have to submit what is called a completion plan. We can allow students to take longer than 6 total quarters if they have a reasonable purpose for doing so. So the most important thing that I can tell transfers, aside from the VAC, is to get a plan. Like when you come to the enrollment webinars, when you go to your department webinars and orientation over the summer, you're going to learn a lot of really great tools, the degree audit, the academic plans website, and you're going to start to be able to really build, based on the credits that you brought in, a more personalized plan for yourself. That is what's going to be most important. And then in the fall quarter, meeting with advisors if you have any questions for long-term planning. That's not what we'll do today. We obviously can't even help you with that today because we don't yet know what you've taken. But as you're here longer and you're meeting with advisors, you will develop that personalized plan. And if part of that is needing a little bit of extra time, you're not going to be penalized for that.
Great questions, everyone. For those of you who don't get questions answered, I did want to point out that we will be having peer coaches working in our office starting July 5th. And so peer coaches are not advisors, but they are current transfer students who work in our office. And you can always make an appointment with one of them, and they'd be able to kind of like walk you through what to expect in terms of class enrollment, and hopefully answer some of your questions. But I do want to go ahead and move on to our raffle portion of our session. So let me go ahead and share my screen to share the QR code one more time for those of you who were not able to log in your attendance for today. So please feel free to use the QR code, or we'll go ahead and drop the attendance link in the chat. Okay, and then we did want to do one last poll before we begin our raffle. We want to get your thoughts on how you thought today's session went. So take a couple minutes on answering our one last poll. So we just want to get an idea in how you all feel after the information that we've been sharing. Alrighty, thank you everyone for filling out the poll. I will go ahead and go to the next slide. So just a heads up next, we do have our financial aid session. Next Wednesday, same time, same Zoom link, we will be bringing in financial aid experts. So please be on the lookout for that. That'll be next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Now it's time for our raffle.
All right, we just got a couple more names in, so I want to make sure I'm adding everybody to the spinner. We'll give it until 4:02. Okay, you're all coming in right now. So I don't want to be fair and make sure everyone has a shot at winning. All right, we are at 4:02. I'm going to go ahead and grab my last registration now, and I will go ahead and share our spinner. For those of you who do win, keep an eye on your inbox, and we will reach out this week for your address. Or if you're local and you want to wait a couple weeks, we can have it mailed that way. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll have 3 winners for today. Woohoo! Okay, so we have our first winner here. Make sure that you are checking your inbox. From me today or tomorrow, you'll be asking for your mailing address. We'll click again. We have our second winner. Make sure you are checking your inbox this week. Congratulations and thanks for joining us today. All right, and we have our third winner. So thank you so much. We'll go ahead and stop sharing our screen here, but we are so grateful for all of you for joining us. We hope you can make it next week for financial aid. We know that's another hot topic as we go throughout the summer. And I'll pass back to Sam for any closing notes.
Yes, thank you everyone again for joining us today. I just wanted to thank our guest speakers, the 3 Katies, for your time and the information that you shared. Again, everyone, just hold your horses. We know that it might be a little stressful not being able to meet with an advisor just yet. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at the Triton Transfer Hub. Again, we will be having our peer coaches begin their summer hours July 5th, and then you could always make an appointment with myself as well. And so thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope to see you all next week for our financial aid session. Bye everyone.